Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last session of Refocus. So if I just pull up my presentation there we go. So today we're going to go over a bit of a conclusion of the program and look at goal setting. And I hope you've all enjoyed the program so far. It's been a pleasure to be talking to you all. And today is going to just be kind of a short one. I know the last few videos have been a bit longer. I do get quite passionate when I talk about things that I'm interested in. So yeah, today goal setting is our main focus. So why should we set goals, you probably wonder. So it's a good way to keep you motivated, as well as give you a sense of achievement, which you might notice is part, like we've spoke about briefly over the course of the program. There's a few things that we want to try and achieve. That's part of the PERMA model, and it also helps to improve our mental health and well-being by giving you something to achieve, and if it's in a positive light as well, it's very beneficial. So I want you now to think of what gets in the way of achieving your goals. So we're going to look now at a few barriers and how to overcome them. Now there does say activity there, so if you can, try and write down something that may be a barrier to you to achieving your goals, and then try and think of a solution. So when we look at barriers, we want to look at the best model. So this is how we can break down our barriers. So the first one is behaviours. So if you've got any kind of behavioural barriers, this could be things like an action, like working too long hours, or if that is something that is an issue for you, then maybe try and think of ways that you can change when you do your goal, when you work towards your goal. So if it's exercise, maybe try and change when you exercise to help suit your work hours. Or it might be a habit. So it might be getting home and having a glass of wine or a beer, and it might be demotivating to have to do anything otherwise. So try and maybe, instead of doing an afternoon exercise session, I'm basing this mainly on exercise, try and do morning exercises or work out before you go home and have something that would demotivate you. Or if it's planning or lack of planning that is your behaviour barrier, maybe try and adjust your calendar to fit exercise in. I find if I write down what exercise I'm going to do and when, it helps me kind of time manage and plan my week out, and it's on the calendar, so I've got to do it. Otherwise, there's emotional barriers. So this could be emotions towards a specific maybe time of the month that makes you react. So if you are aware of anything that is emotional to you, be aware and try and plan around it. Or if it's a mood emotion barrier, it might be that you're not a morning person or you're not an evening person. Maybe try and plan around those kind of time periods. And if you're not a morning person, then maybe the afternoon is the best option for you to try and work towards your goals. Otherwise, there's also situational barriers. So this could be injuries, and we all get injured, and it is quite a barrier, and it makes you feel like you just don't want to do anything. But there's ways you can get around it. So that might be, do some activities that don't involve using that injured part, or if you've rolled your ankle, do some upper body workout. Or if it's all over, you might have to figure out another way. Maybe you might need adjusting the nutrition side of it if you're injured, or sick as well. If you're sick and you can't exercise, adjust your diet so that you're not going to be intaking too much if your goal is to lose a bit of weight maybe. Or there could be finance situations that are a bit of a barrier. You might not have enough money to go to the gym or pay for a class. There's ways you can get around it. So you can do workouts at home or at the park. And if you know me, I've sent out a lot of workouts in my time here, and they're all very friendly to not having to go to the gym. You can just do them at a park or at your home, and you don't really need any equipment either. Or go for a walk around the beach, around the park, that kind of stuff as well. They're very cheap alternatives if you have a finance barrier. Otherwise, in terms of situations, just get informed and do research on what you might be able to do if you are, injured. There might be actual exercises you can do to help your back as well. And then lastly, there is thinking. So this one's just a basic, whatever your beliefs and attitudes are towards what your goal is, or your expectations, procrastination. If you have pain in your back and you might feel like you need to rest, again, that's looking for those solutions. The exercises may actually help you reduce your pain if it doesn't go away. It's very common with a lot of chronic pain that exercise actually can help, and it might not feel like it because you're actually working that area, but it will help reduce your pain, obviously in consultation with a physio. Now, by identifying what barriers you do have, it helps to identify strategies. So I've just given you a few tips, but hopefully if you can kind of come up with what your barriers are, you might be able to actually come up with a solution to yourself, for yourself. Next slide. Is it going to go over? There we go. So when you're looking at setting goals, we don't want it to be broad. We want to set smart goals. So by setting realistic and achievable goals, it's all about being smart. So this model is a good technique to use when you are formulating your goals. I have heard a few people say, I just want to lose a bit of weight. That would not be a smart goal. When you're setting a smart goal, you want to make sure it's specific. So losing a bit of weight is a good example because, a bit, that would be not very specific. So, say I want to lose 2 kilos. Now, that's specific. You've got 2 kilo goal there. Then you want to make it measurable. So it needs to be able to be measured over time or an amount. So we set 2 kilos, but then we also, later on down the SMART model, we'll get to that, but measurable is the amount. Then we've got achievable. So if we set, 2 kilos in 2 days, that would be very unachievable, wouldn't it? So we want to try and think of an achievable goal. So, 2 kilos in maybe a month, that is very achievable. And by setting an achievable goal, it gives you something, it gives you motivation because you can do that and that is possible. If it's impossible, like winning the lotto, for example, then it's not going to be very motivating and it's probably unlikely to happen. So that wouldn't be a good goal. Then we also want to make it realistic. So this is, again, a realistic goal. Good example is the lotto one. So by saying you want to win the lotto, it's not very realistic. It's very hard to do the amount. As much as we'd like to believe we could win it one day, it's very unlikely. So it needs to be realistic. And also time framed, lastly. So by saying, I want to lose 2 kilos in this amount of time framed, that's where that comes into. And it also helps you set smaller goals. So obviously we can have a longer term goal and a short term goal, but by setting small, smart goals, you'll be able to hit that long term goal. And it also, makes it a lot more achievable as well. Now, we've got 5 stages of intervention when we look at wanting to make changes in our lives. So it's a useful framework that describes a series of stages we go through to change our lifestyle habits, and the critical assumption that underpins this model is that behavioural changes don't just happen in one step, as we all know, but through a series of distinct, predictable stages. So just realising the stage of change that you're in may help you to succeed. So we've got the pre-contemplation stage, which is our first phase of intervention. So people in this stage don't want to make any change to their habits and they don't recognise that they have a problem. And they may also be pessimistic about their ability to make change or even deny the negative effects of your existing lifestyle habits. They also selectively filter information that helps confirm their decision not to exercise or to eat better. And this stage is many times referred to as the denial stage. Unfortunately, it is difficult to reach or help people in this pre-contemplation phase, as it may take an emotional trigger or an event of some kind that usually snaps people out of their denial. And it's highly likely, if you are taking the time to read this article, you're not in this stage, which is a good point. Now, contemplation is the next stage. During this one, you are weighing the costs, say effort, time, finances, and benefits of lifestyle modification. You are contemplating whether it is something that will be worth it, and people remain usually in this stage for years without actually preparing to take action. So I think by setting very powerful motivating goals and visualizing your results, it can be helpful for someone in this contemplative stage. If you can identify new ways that making a change will benefit you, the benefits will then begin to outweigh the costs. And we tend to seek pleasure and avoid pain. So the more pleasure you can ascribe to making a change, the more likely you will take action and succeed. That's that intrinsic motivation that we spoke about in the last few sessions. Now, the preparation is the next phase. People in the preparation phase have decided to change their negative habits within 1 month. And congratulations if you are in this category. You may have just set up an appointment with a personal trainer or a nutritionist or a fitness professional, or you may have purchased a fitness program or started a gym membership. So they're the people that are in the preparation phase. And then next is the action. So the action stage is the process of actually changing your lifestyle. Whether you are exercising more consistently or eating healthier, individuals in this stage are usually at the greatest risk of relapse as well, keep in mind. So it's key to leverage any techniques that you can to stay motivated. The action is when you're doing it. Then there's the maintenance phase, the last one. So this is the stage of a successful sustained lifestyle modification. If you have been exercising for years consistently and have blended positive habits into your lifestyle, then you are most likely in this stage. And in my experiences, people tend to bounce between contemplation, preparation, and action stages, or in other words, yo-yo, diet as an exercise. And I think one way to try and prevent this yo-yo effect from happening is to make small changes in your habits that over time create something meaningful. In addition, yo-yo dieters and exercisers should also understand that maintaining physical fitness and changing fitness are two totally different paths that require very different approaches. It's not that difficult to maintain a given level of physical fitness just by remaining consistent, unless you're obviously at a very high level. It is very difficult, however, to prepare and take action to change your bodies. And our bodies are resistant to change, keep in mind. So by trying to change them, it takes a massive amount of effort that requires a substantial commitment, both mental and physical. So once you've changed your bodies, you can coast without losing that fitness level. That's very important. Small changes, key takeaway there. Now, next over, I wanted to compare a couple of people. I put they're not real people. I've just kind of based it around very average stats. But to think about how much weight you want to lose, you need to know the numbers. So we say losing a kilo a week usually means having a deficit of 7,700 calories. We spoke about this in the nutrition lecture and the weight management lecture, I call it. I'm at uni. The presentation. So we all have done the usual exercise and eating right during the week. But as soon as the weekend hits, I don't know about you guys, but I tend to get a little less strict on myself. So I wanted to show you exactly how much, say, a blowout weekend can affect your weight loss goals. So we've got the person one here, Phyllis, up the top there. Phyllis is a 30-year-old female at around 165 centimeters tall, and she weighs about 100 kilos, just to keep it all very average. Her rough metabolic rate, so remember I said you burn a certain amount of calories a day just by doing nothing. Her metabolic rate is about 1,700 calories or 1,750 calories a day, and that's just at rest. Now that's calculated based on her weight. So remember, if you're heavier, you burn more calories, but you also you need more. So this means she burns about 12,600 calories a week just by doing nothing. Now, Phyllis is going on a 10-week weight loss challenge and is determined and motivated. She will be participating in exercise classes about twice a week and walking 4 times a week for about an hour. So that means she's doing something on 6 days of the week, which 4 of them are just walking, keep in mind. So, and then she'll also go to the beach on weekends for a swim. So she's doing something every day, and that's quite a lot of exercise, but she's very dedicated and committed to that. And she also hasn't given in to any temptations, and she stays strict on her diet and exercise plan for that whole 10 weeks. Now, I've gone very over the top here. Remember, it doesn't need to be that high. I've got it different on the slide there. 2 classes and 2 45-minute walks. Let's go off that one. So not too hard to do. 2 classes and 2 45-minute walks. That means about 4 days a week that you're doing exercise, and the other days can just be very basic. So her calorie consumption, she's going to set herself a 1,200 calorie a day option, and one of the days will also be 1,500 calories. So she's got a bit of a discrepancy there. So there's going to be a weekend day where she's going to give herself a little bit more, which is normal, and the weekdays they're going to be 1,200 calories. So roughly, I've worked out calculations based on her activity. She'll be burning about 16,000 calories a week. So remember, it was about 12,000 with not doing any exercise. So we're going to boost that up because she's doing activity. Obviously, you will when you're doing just anything, even just working. Now, she has about a 7,300 calorie deficit per week, which equates to about a kilo a week at this rate. So, roughly, in 10 weeks, she would lose about 10 kilos just by doing 2 classes a week and 2 45-minute walks, as well as keeping her diet strict. So 10 kilos in 10 weeks, that's quite an achievement there. Then we've got, in comparison, Stanley. Now, he wants to lose weight, but he is he gives in to temptations and he lacks motivation. Now, Stanley is 40 years old. He stands at about 175 centimeters tall. And let's say he weighs 100 kilos again. Because he's a male, he does have a bit more of a muscle amount. So his basal metabolic rate, or his metabolism, is about 2,050 calories a day at rest. Meaning he burns about 14,350 calories a week just doing nothing. So he started a weight loss intervention and he eats relatively well at about 2,000 calories a day. And he goes for a 20-minute walk 3 times a week, as well as 1 gym session a week. So pretty average. He goes on 1 gym session, 3 walks. He eats 2,000 calories a day. So it's okay, but it's not great. Now he burns a week. He burns a week, I calculated based on his activity, about 18,200 calories a week. And if he eats about 2,000 calories a day, which is pretty average, pretty normal, I reckon I probably eat 2,000, maybe a bit more, he burns, or he puts in 14,000 calories. So that means he only has about 4,000 calorie deficit a week, which is about 0.6 kilo weight loss equivalent, if he's sticking to it. But Stanley has a few lapses. So he has a birthday morning tea in which he indulges, and probably he consumes about 2 cakes, 2 pies, and a bit of bread, which can actually add up quite high, which equates to about 1,000 calories. And this puts his weekly deficit at only about 3,200, which takes it down to about a half kilo weight loss in the first week, provided he was very good every other day. Now, next week over, he has a Friday night out with his friends, and he has a few pints of beer, maybe 4, and a Big Mac meal afterwards. This equates to about 1,500 calories. So this means his deficit for the week is only 2,700 and it equates to only a 0.4 kilo weight loss, again provided that he was good on every other day. Now, if Stanley keeps this up, he will only be losing small amounts every week, if at all. And if Stanley wants to continue this on more than one day per week, he may even gain some weight. So think about your week and how many days of those weeks were you strict? How many were you not? It doesn't take much for it to all to build up. Now, another thing to keep in mind is the fat loss. So to lose about 1.5 kilos a week, that is about 1 kilo of fat and needs 9,000 calorie deficit, just to keep you in mind, because you won't always just lose fat. Now, the main takeaway I want you to take from this is consistency is the key to weight loss. And I can tell you right now, when I'm strict, not doing anything bad during the week, I wouldn't say bad, but having a few cheats, I would probably only have a small cheat on one day and that was it. And if I was strict, you can lose quite a bit. But it just takes 1 or 2 outings in the week, and it might not be food-wise. It just might be that you're not getting out there and exercising. That can take your calorie deficit down. And if you chip it away at it each day during the week, say just one little snack here, one little temptation there, it can all add up. So if you do have something coming up that you are aware of, try and plan for it and fit the calories into your actual daily plan. Or perhaps you can do a longer workout to try and make up for it. So, for example, a Christmas day a couple years ago now, my partner and I were very gross and disgusted at the way we were eating on most Christmases. So we got up at 5 a.m. and we actually went to the gym and did a 2-hour workout so that we could indulge for that day. So that's one way that you could maybe get around having those cheat days that, you might not be able to get around because it's an event. So just a bit of food for thought for this slide. Moving along now. So accountability. Goals take time, hard work, perseverance, and commitment to achieve, and often the results don't come as quickly as you hope. So you can easily lose motivation in the process and give up, but everything changes when you leverage an accountability system. To be accountable, all you need is a clear goal and willingness to let others help you achieve it. According to research, two factors that effectively help people achieve the behavior change they desire are incentives and accountability. Achieving anything in life takes practice. Writing every day, working out, eating healthy, etc. are practices that get better with time. Whether you want to make change to your habits, health, body, relationship, or your finances, identify the right commitment system that can make it easy for you to reach your goals. When you're accountable to someone or a group of people for doing what you said you would do, you can easily get stuff done because you engage the power of social expectations. So, for example, when you tell your boss you'll get the proposal done by the end of the week, you are more likely to stick to it and do it. And when you tell a client you'll send over a report, you'll most likely deliver. The expectation alone is enough to motivate you to commit and get it done. However, when you just tell yourself and no one else that you will quit smoking, start a new gym routine, or write a book, launch a meaningful project, or maybe just quit your just okay job in order to pursue your life's works, you are most likely less likely to do it. It's easy to choose something else more comfortable and make excuses if no one is aware of it. Now, a few points here. Accountability accelerates your performance. The American Society of Training and Development did a study on accountability and found that you have a 65% chance of completing a goal if you commit to someone. And if you have a specific accountability appointment with a person you've committed to, you will increase your chance of success by up to 95%. Today, right now, you can make a commitment that matters to your goal. You can choose your spouse, a reliable friend, or friends and tell them what your goal is and why it is important for you to achieve it. Or, alternatively, you could blog about it, about your most important goal, and share your progress with your audience. When you make goals public, you often receive a combination of responses that you can use to fuel your desire to succeed. So agree on what you'd like to do and what you'd like them to do if you don't follow through. And if you're both not committed to the accountability program, then other daily activities will take precedent. So find someone who will challenge you and engage you and invoke a sense of accomplishment in you. Now, putting accountability to work. Put structures and systems in place to measure and record your progress. So schedule a regular appointment to check in. It can be over email, mobile, or in person, or if possible, schedule these times in advance so that they don't get lost or forgotten in the busyness of everyday life. Now, move beyond mere talk and commit to a specific action that will move your goals forward, and agree with someone else who can hold you accountable. It's a perfect commitment system you need for a long-term goal. If your goal demands it, also seek out people, mentors, coaches, or resources that can offer you expert support and the knowledge you need to succeed. If you are struggling to stick to a gym or diet or a writing plan, an accountability or partner or audience can make a huge difference. Another way you could try and be accountable is to sign a commitment contract. A commitment contract is a binding agreement you sign with yourself to ensure that you follow through with your goals. There is an app called Stick, which is a productivity app purposely built for that. You can see a little picture there. They can help you achieve your goals over a period of time, and it does this by utilizing the psychological powers of loss aversion and accountability to drive behavior change. Stick asks users to define their goal, whatever it is. Pick a timeline to accomplish it and put something at stake, whether it is money or your reputation. If you don't fulfill your commitment with Stick, it automatically tells your friends and opens you up to endless mockery. So, if you want to take an accountability to a whole new level, especially on a regular basis, consider joining a habit group where members keep track of their results, or this app. And if you are serious about achieving your goals, it can be one of your most potent sources of support and accountability. So, for example, if you intend to quit smoking, try and exercise more. Study a new language, take control of your finance, eat healthier, start a new reading habit, or manage your time better. An accountability system can guide you. So, if you intend to quit smoking, blah, blah, blah. Now, another way you can be accountable is give someone permission to hold you accountable. When you go public with your goal, you allow others to rally and encourage you. In the This Time Next Year TV show, people publicly pledge to work on a single goal and report back to the show the same time next year on whether they've been able to do it. They share their dreams and they're desperate to achieve over the next 12 months. It's in those TV ads for it. So everyone who appears on the show has to come back to update the audience about their progress. The declaration makes them work hard at it, and the public holds contestants accountable. The show requires guests to send weekly or monthly updates as well. So you could try and do this with an accountability person. Contestants are usually motivated to push themselves to reach their goals. What they set out to do are difficult, but they are realistic. So once you are accountable to the public and show, they do everything they can to achieve them. One contestant said in an interview, as part of the show, I had to do a video diary each week. So I'd do mine every Sunday and I'd have to take photos of my progress too. With the right support and help, you can do better and actually achieve your goals this year. The likelihood of getting new habits to stick or reaching your goals is remarkably higher when you set time to report back to someone on your progress. Here's a good quote. When performance is measured, performance improves. When performance is measured and reported, the rate of improvement accelerates. That one is by Thomas S. Monson. So build an accountability plan in your next big goal and see the difference it makes. If you want to improve your chances of success, use the power of accountability. Now, I want you now to work on your own personal long-term health and well-being goals, and I want you to break that up into smaller, more achievable steps. You may have already started this process of the course of this program, but if this is the case, use this time to help others with their goal setting, perhaps, if you're in person. Otherwise, if you're on the Blue Jeans, I want you to start thinking about your goals and start by identifying what your long-term goal is. Is it 6 or 12 months? What area of well-being do you want it to be in? If your long-term goal feels a bit vague and non-specific, ask yourself, what would it look like to achieve this goal? How will you know you've achieved your goal? What time frame do you have in mind for achieving your goal? Is your goal achievable within the time frame you have in mind? Or would you realistically be able to achieve this goal within that time frame? All of the above. So think about ways that you can make your goal work for you. And if you need any help on the other side, I showed here, Caitlin and I are here. We can be your accountability buddies. We can help you set your goals. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed the sessions. I have definitely myself, and I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you in person. Otherwise, take care and all the best.